Right, we've got some time for some questions. If you'd like to put your hands up. I take the red paddle over there.
Prime Minister Jessica Elgott from The Guardian. Your predecessor, David Cameron, said aggressive tax avoidance was not morally acceptable. And you said you want an economy that works not just for the privileged few. So will you finish that work and insist that British tax havens create public registers of who owns offshore companies and trusts? And will you announce a public inquiry into aggressive tax avoidance?
Well, first of all, we have been continuing the work that David Cameron started. And he started it not just for the UK, but on an international stage as well, and that's important. So we have seen more revenues coming to HMRC over the last few years, since 2010, £160 billion extra that they have been able to raise. But we do there's already work that's being done to ensure that we see greater transparency in our dependencies and British overseas territories, and we continue to work with them. HMRC is already able to see more information about the ownership of shell companies, for example, so that they can ensure that people are paying their tax. We want people to pay the tax that is due. I'll take next, blue paddle.
Angela Middleton at Middleton Murray. We place young people into their first jobs and deliver careers advice in innovative ways such as podcasts. I think there are so many amazing opportunities now, but what's your view on how us as businesses can really try to build aspirations for young people and excite them about their future? Because the opportunities are there, but still young people often don't see that or believe it.
Well, actually, I think one of the things that business can do is perhaps have some more interaction with schools, with youngsters in school. I think often youngsters at school don't see the excitement that being in business, the interest that having a business career can be about, and don't see the interest and excitement of actually setting up their own business and creating something that grows and is of benefit to society as a whole. So I think that interaction with young people, showing them that, the opportunities that business can bring and the great interest that a business career can give to them, I think is one way that businesses can do that. Thank you. Okay, red paddle there.
Hi, William James from Reuters. Prime Minister, your government has set out its ambition to have the outlines of a transitional deal by early next year and hopefully finalising the whole deal in October. Aren't you relying on an awful lot of goodwill from businesses to plan their futures based on the outlines of a deal that isn't set in stone? And also, how confident are you of having the full, detailed, comprehensive trade agreement agreed by next October?
Well, first of all, of course, as everybody will appreciate, we are in a negotiation with the European Union. What I've been clear about in the Florence speech is the sort of partnership that the UK wants to see with the EU 27 in the future. They are now picking that up and developing their own thoughts about the future and what partnership they want to see. But the implementation period, I believe, first of all, we need to get full agreement that this is something that will happen, and then we'll need to negotiate the details. Of course, some of those details, you need to know what the end state is, what that future partnership is, because this is about practical change moving to that future partnership. But I was clear in Florence that I think businesses should be able to have the comfort of knowing they'd be able to operate on the current same basis as they currently can during that implementation period. I'll take orange.
My name is Arif Butt, publisher of Select Science. Got two questions for you, actually. What do you consider the top priorities for scientific research over the next 5 years?
I think that's the sort of question where I would normally say, I'll write to the honourable gentleman afterwards. Look, I think I'm not a scientist, but we can look at some of the areas that the UK is already very strong in some of the issues around life sciences, but also some of the new technology around the automotive industry, artificial intelligence, where I think we have a real lead and a real positive future. But there may very well be other areas out there, and this is part of, as we work with business and universities and others in the industrial strategy, maybe other areas out there where actually there is a new big thing for the future that some of us haven't even heard of today. But let's make sure it's our scientists who are developing, and it's the UK business who can take that forward when it does come.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Laura Kunsberg, BBC News. You say it's time to be frank about harassment and bullying in Westminster. Can you say, hand on heart, that you were not aware of any of the concerns that have emerged in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I have. Obviously, what has happened is over the last week, a number of stories have appeared in the press. A number of issues were raised with me that didn't appear in the press. And as you've seen, action has been taken. A number of people have been referred to, in my party, have been referred to the Conservative Party's grievance procedure and arrangements that we have put in place. And a number of people have been referred to the Cabinet Secretary, where they are in ministerial positions, and it's appropriate for the Cabinet Secretary to look at these issues. What I also want to see, though, this is not just for political parties. I believe it's so important that Westminster itself, Parliament itself, has a proper process for grievance procedures, has a proper process where people can make complaints and bring allegations, because I want people working in Parliament to have the confidence that they can come forward with those allegations, that they can come forward and report misconduct that has taken place. And I want both sides to have the confidence that those concerns will be properly investigated, will be fairly and properly investigated. Thank you. Should I take one more? One more? Let's take the purple one. Yeah.
Good morning, Prime Minister. My name is Esiogene Okonodo. I work for a company called Savitec Group. You mentioned something about diversity and that the government would like a more diverse workforce. As you can see, my company does that, but perhaps if you look around the room, that might not necessarily be the case for everyone. So I'd like to know how the government will be helping to assist with this issue. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, I think, well, first of all, I think it's important for everybody in business to recognise the value of actually having access to and benefiting from all the wide range of talents that exist in our population. And that means across people from all sorts of different backgrounds in our population. What government can do, though I think first and foremost, government has to look at itself, at how it operates. And that's why I commissioned, at a very early stage when I first became PM, I commissioned the racial disparity audit. We've published the results of that racial disparity audit, and it makes uncomfortable reading. But we do need to act in a number of areas. So one of the things we're doing, for example, is we've identified a number of hotspots where BME communities have a higher rate of unemployment than is generally in the population, and putting in specific targeted work to work with people in those communities to help them get into the workplace and get that first step on the employment ladder that can take them through for their careers. So government has to look at itself as well as helping business in this. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, the Prime Minister there addressing the annual conference of the CBI at the O2 Centre in Greenwich in London here. Prime Minister not really committing much news there, really a statement of her positions on what she called a clear economic plan followed by the government. She stressed that Britain would eventually